Hey, by the way, in real time, I am not engaged right now, but by the time this airs, I will be engaged. Just saying. So, all right. So I'm headed to Oregon. When I come back, let's do something at your place. So we'll do something here at Vitality. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Love you. Safe travel.
Love you too.
I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Hey everyone, it is Bex here, and I am here with my personal nutritional guru, certified detoxification consultant, founder of Vitality NYC, where he does the colonic hydrotherapy and puts people in deep freeze in the cryo tank and all that good stuff. It is Michael Farine. Hello and welcome.
Hello there. I'm in a sauna today. I've hijacked our entire office. I've taken the computer. I've taken the sauna. I tell everyone to be quiet. So, but there's still some background noise because there's tons of people here and there's like music playing. But here we are. We're making it happen. Everything is based on my battery life now of everything. So I'm in the sauna and I don't have electricity in here.
We're just going to go until we go. I think we might have to make this into a couple different videos. I know you're recording a podcast for Everyday Detox, which is hopefully going to be a lot of fun. We'll get through some great material today. I want to cover all of the good nutrition stuff and how it relates to our everyday lives. But when I asked you what you wanted to talk about, you said, let me just pull this up for a second because it was interesting and I have no idea what you meant by it. You said you want to talk about the psychology of people in the wellness world of social media. What does that mean?
I was just observing a lot of the people that create wellness content, anything from like yoga to meditation to nutrition stuff. And I was looking at Instagram one day and I just started to notice the psychological landscape. And I was reminded from a podcast I did, I was talking to my friend, Pete Cervoni, and I was trying to explain to him what people wanted when they crafted their Instagram feeds or their social media feeds. And I think and there's a lot of different reasons why people choose to view different accounts or want to see different content. But I think a lot of it has to do with a state of desire. So we want certain things. We want a certain feeling. We want a certain mood. A lot of people follow travel photographers because everybody wants to travel. They want to be out of their suburb or their city and in the mountains. So I was looking at it from the perspective of the content consumer or viewer, and especially from people in the wellness world. And I just realized how much of the content is geared toward telling everybody that everything's okay. And I feel like there's a lot, there's so much about self-love, self-acceptance, everything's okay, and how much we need to take better care of ourselves. And I thought, wow, I thought there's a lot of self-doubt. And there's a lot of reinforcement that we're all constantly looking for. And I just thought it was fascinating.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw a marked shift toward that type of content over the past year or so. And I think it has a ton to do with the political climate. And people are freaking the fuck out. Like, I know that it's really, really hard to go online and talk about being happy or, finding your bliss and all that good stuff that I was talking about, for the entirety of my career, even though bad stuff was happening all the time, because the danger has become so acute. The fear has become so acute. So there's no way for me to go online and talk about wellness without talking about social issues and political issues and how to navigate those and how to create happiness in our own lives when everything feels like it's falling apart. So I know a lot of my content has shifted to, it's okay. Don't freak out. You're going to be okay. There is still hope. And I don't know. I think that has a lot to do with it though. But yeah, there is a lot of self-doubt. I think that people, it's the pendulum swing from everybody striving so much to be perfect and realizing that that isn't possible. We see it in advertising where they're showing models that are not photoshopped, even though they're obviously being run through some kind of filter. Like, you're not putting raw photos in a magazine. But people have grown, they were addicted to it and then they became adverse to it. And now they're really wanting to resist it. So everyone else has to catch up with that message. And telling people that they're okay just as they are and that their feelings are normal and that their imperfections are normal is good marketing.
It is,
People
because
don't want the other stuff.
no, it's an industry that is, well, the wellness industry is an industry that sort of feeds off of people's insecurities.
Sure.
Because if everybody were well, you wouldn't need a wellness industry.
Sure.
I see it. It's just, I notice the overwhelming saturation of quotes, like constant
People love them.
quotes. Everybody's trying to be profound and like say this thing. And, but all of those quotes were just, they were around letting people know everything's going to be okay. Don't worry.
There was a study. There was some kind of study or some kind of, it was like an article or an essay or something that was basically saying that people who post a lot of like memes or motivational quotes are actually quite dumb. Like they're not very smart.
Well, this is interesting. There's I noticed on Facebook a lot of like political talk, nutrition talk, religion talk. All it is tons of people posting unoriginal content that of other people, usually writers or articles or video makers, that are expressing some feeling they have. And they post it up for all of our friends. Like, see, like it's just the weirdest, like they're trying to like validate their own agenda by other people's content. And it's just constant reposting of everybody's stuff. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is that about us?
Because, look, I'll tell you, if you go to the BEXLIFE Instagram, you're going to see quotes. You're going to see stuff that I've posted from other Instagram people that are, quite popular. I do it, to be very honest, I do it because if I see something that's doing well or is trending and it resonates with me or it aligns with my message, I pick it up, I put it on my Instagram, but I try to give people a little bit of value beyond that. I try to tell a story or tell why I'm posting it, or, give something about myself or, from myself with that. But because I don't want to be just a meme factory or just a curator of other people's popular posts, but it's hard because it's like, how do I reach people with what they want while giving them what I feel is not what they need, but what I feel is valuable?
Well, you know what I see a lot of the time, especially with accounts of people we know in the wellness world, is that they don't follow the Gary V Rule 101 situation. So, why don't you like Gary V?
I have grown so tired of that man.
Oh, well, God, because he saturates our feed with all of his stuff. But a lot of it's valuable. He's very aggressive. Yes. My girlfriend hates him. She goes, "Is that guy that yells all the time?" Yeah. It's document, don't create. And I see a lot of, and they're very popular Instagram and Facebook accounts where they're not doing that. They're trying to create content for people. And it's usually quote, Photoshopped selfie food pic, quote, Photoshop selfie food pic. And people love it. They eat that.
You are such a hater.
I'm just observing. That's what I see when I do it.
Offering my objective, highly biased opinion.
Well, I'll tell you why, because I sat with this in the early days of, and I don't have a huge following. I have some very loyal people that really love and appreciate this podcast. I have very authentic, non-robot generated. That's a whole other
There's a word
conversation. The robots, I can't stand the robot. I'm not going to vent. I'm not going to go in that direction. But the people that follow my accounts are very, they're all real people that authentically like the content that I create.
Yeah. Because
in the early days, I remember when I first started the podcast and I thought, okay, I need like an Instagram account for the podcast. And I decided to, I started like thinking things up like, oh, I'm going to do like a tip of the week, and I'm going to do, I'll have a contest and I'll give it. And I was like, no, stop. That's ridiculous. You're copying other people. Just add the value that comes from you genuinely. Create your own content. Every now and again, I'll post a quote or something, but it's once a year. And I didn't follow that formula, and I caught myself in that. And people would say things to me like, oh, you should have so-and-so on your podcast, or you should have like Tim Ferriss. You should try to get on him. And I noticed this weird little cool kids club of everybody doing the same thing. Tim Ferriss has to go on Gary Vee. Gary Vee's got to go on Tim Ferriss. And they go on Tony Robbins. And there's just there's this little club of people that are all just stroking each other's backs. And I was like, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to get attached to what the value of the person is on my podcast or something. It's a little bit tricky though, because
you've been with me from the very beginning. I just shared our video from 8 years ago, our first video that we shot together. And from the very beginning, I think that I was, kind of doing what I was doing authentically because I didn't know any better. I wasn't part of a clique. I was kind of an outsider just because I was from New Jersey, just on YouTube, making videos from my living room. And as I grew and as different opportunities were presented to me and I started meeting other people, I did become part of a circle, so I have a lot of friends in wellness, especially in LA and New York City, that I collaborate with, that I work with, and we do, help each other and go on each other's platforms. It is very much a who scenario in terms of getting shows, getting book deals, all that kind of stuff. There's parts of it that I love that have been helpful to me and I think very valuable to my audience because they get access to people that they wouldn't normally get access to. But then there's lots of it that I hate and that I've resisted. So I found myself falling in the trap of, what I'm supposed to do in wellness and what kind of message I'm supposed to deliver. And when I get into that, it just feels icky. It feels hard. I end up quitting. I throw my hands up. I don't make videos for a while. I didn't make videos all last year. I was just in this place of just everything sucks. No one's authentic. It's all bullshit. Like none of this is helping people. But here I am again, like I'm back and I'm doing a bunch of interviews with people that are super cool within the circle that have a lot of valuable things to say. But the important thing though with me is that they add value. It's not about how much reach they can give me. It's not about what I'm getting from them. It's really like what they can give to my audience. Because there's no qualification for being on my platform. Like, I don't care what your numbers are or how much reach you have or any of that. It's just like, are you smart? Do you say smart things? Are you generous? And that's about it. But it's tricky. I mean,
there's this level of acceptance, and I just watched. I would go to book parties and television show release parties and all these things. I'd get invited to them, and I'd be all excited. Oh, I'm going to go to so and so's party, and the amount of people that would grill me in the room trying to evaluate if I was someone of value that they needed to feature on their thing. And I was like, this is so icky. I don't like this. I don't like this culture. Yeah. And I told myself, I thought, I'm going to do anybody's platform, anybody's podcast that ever asked me to. I'm not going to try to say what's in it for me. I'm going to help anybody get their thing going. And B, I'm only going to let the content I create reflect what I'm doing. I'm not going to contrive it because like you said, it gets tricky. It gets hard. You want to give up because instead of just being in a flow state, now we're trying to generate something based on another person's response. And we're making content for a person versus making the content that reflects what we actually have to contribute.
I'm in a group of women. There's about 7 of us, really influential, successful women in wellness. We're on a group text together. We talk to each other every single day about all the things, personal and business. And a conversation that we've been having that's been going around is about online summits. And the viewer right now or the listener might not understand what the real function of an online summit is. So, and I'm not talking about big ones like Hay House and the Tapping World Summit, which were the first, and they're really amazing and they deliver great quality content. All these new ones that you see that you'll sign up for, like you'll give them your email address and then they'll put you in some kind of like email sequence. And at the end, they try to sell you something, either the content from the summit or some kind of product or program. Every one of those is an effort to list build. And it's a pervasive, disgusting practice that I hate because I get
just said the word list build. I want to vomit.
The worst. It's the worst. So, I mean, I love my email list and I love my subscribers. I try to give them value, but I'll get at least 5 or 6 emails a week asking me to be part of this new like wellness summit that's going to reach 150,000 people. But here are the requirements. First, you got to get on the phone and have an interview with them to see if you qualify. I'm like, you're reaching out to me, dude. Like, I know what I'm talking about already. And then they want to know how many people are on your list, of course. So it's like, you have at least 5,000 or 10,000 people on your list, because what happens is they make you part of the summit. You are required to send at least 1 email to your entire list asking your list to sign up for their summit. So now they have captured everyone who comes from your list on their list. And then they're going to email them constantly and try to sell them something. And I'm not into that. I value the people that have signed up for my list. I don't use bots. Every single one of my audience members came to me organically, and I've worked really hard for it over the years. And for someone to come in and poach my audience like that in the interest of just selling them something, it makes me insane. And I don't think that, my general audience or anyone listening really understands that that's what's happening. So beware when you sign up for that stuff. You're going to get sold at the end.
What list, follower, and downline are 3 words I don't ever want to hear again. Essential oil people. I love essential oils for so many reasons. I can't stand the companies in those structures. And hey, listen, I know they're like billion-dollar industries, so who am I to say it's from a business perspective, but disgusting from my consumer perspective. I just want to buy the thing and go home. I don't want to have to take phone calls and these telemarketing things with people.
Yeah, it doesn't work for you. And a lot of it doesn't work for me either. And, I see the value in it. Like, I have my list. I do try to grow my list. I try to grow the number of people that I get to reach every single day. And, email is a beautiful way to do it. But I try to deliver content to those people and, give in all sorts of ways to motivate them on their own to want to sign up. There's no trickery. It's hard. Like, I want to deliver good stuff and I want to make money. And I think that that's where wellness and just the health industry in general is really effed up. Like, we have to make money and we're selling something that should be free. Everyone in this country, if you're watching in the United States, should be entitled to free universal health care. We don't have that. And so we have people who are very, very sick, who aren't getting good information from their doctors because it is, because for so many reasons I'm not even going to get into, but there's so much bad information out there. And then we're showing up as wellness personalities or influencers or practitioners trying to fix what's broken, but then also trying to make money. So I'm trying to make a profit and raise my family by delivering information that I wish could be free. I wish I could just give it away. So it's sticky. God, I'm getting so depressed from this. Mike, what do we do?
Let me talk about this, because this was another aspect of the psychology I noticed. This relates to us adding value to people, and also being authentic. It's interesting how many self-deprecating memes are floating around that somehow make a joke out of our own failures and lack of effort.
Give me an example.
I'll give you an example. January is free trial month.
Hey, I posted that.
I know. It's a perfect example. So it's funny. It's but
for real.
It's a funny meme. And there's endless ones like that about there was one today about I don't remember what it said, but I was looking at one on the bus on the way in today, and it was like, oh, when you're trying to align your chakras or something, but you've just eaten like a bag of chips and scrolled through your suggested feed on Instagram for 2.5 hours, and it was and it just showed some little baby with chips all over its face or something like that.
For me, that's true. I do New Year's resolutions. I do my birthday resolutions, and I get started and I find myself, tripping up on my commitments to myself, falling outside of integrity of what I wanted to do this year. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start again. Here's another day for me to start. And if I am positioning myself as someone who doesn't fuck up, then I don't know how I'm making people feel comfortable with me. And I think that that's something that my audience likes from me, is that I'm telling them all the stuff.
And that's why I said there's an element of authenticity to all of it. But at the same time, I wonder if the joke creation creates just a lot of ways out for us.
Sure.
It does. Sure. And that's what I think I don't like about it, doing the work that I do, because I'm constantly in a state of managing people's food drama for 16 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can I hold people to a higher standard? And I want to inspire and excite people into that.
All right. I had an epiphany. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but
tell me. God, it's getting hot in the sauna. The sauna's not on. It's just I'm in here with
Here's
this
an
little
enclosed
tiny
space.
room.
So this is what it is for me. So when I don't really have a lot of food drama in my life. I'm like someone who experiments with ways to eat, and then sometimes I follow it and sometimes I don't, but it doesn't create an emotional internal struggle for me. So when I'm talking about like falling off the wagon of my food goals, it's not a drama for me. What I'm doing, what my practice is in my life, you know, what I teach and the work that I do with my own coach and my spiritual journey that I'm on is staying in integrity. So I do what I say what I do, all that good stuff. And I try to show up in truth every single day for people. So when I'm posting self-deprecating things, I'm showing them the process in truth because I'm trying to stay in integrity with my process. I see how it can be contributing to people just being able to kind of mess up and start again, never really commit to a process, never really be integrity with what they are saying that they're doing. Because we're talking about two different things. Because what I'm revealing is my journey. I'm just being completely 100% open with what's going on. My journey is not the food journey. My journey is not the exercise journey. It's a truth journey. And maybe I could do a better job of communicating that now that I'm thinking about it. Because what I'm seeing in my coaching practice and when I work with people is that we have an integrity problem, a huge one. And it's not about being good or bad. It's about saying I'm going to do X and then actually doing X. And what I find is that, you know, people say they're going to do X, they do Y, and then they are creating tons and tons of excuses and reasons and justifications and funny jokes and all that kind of stuff to make it okay. And that bothers me because I really want to bring people to not an elevated place, but a different place that creates more ease in their lives. And being outside of integrity or just lying, big lies, little white lies, is hard. It creates a lot of struggle and pain.
Well, yeah, it's so much better to be authentic and transparent than to be one of those wellness peeps that photoshops all their pictures. They look horrible and they eat crap all the time, but they only show themselves eating like acai bowls, you know? So of course that's there. I just found it an interesting thing that I saw so much of that. And it's not like it's something that just started. Like I see the same people making the same jokes over for years and years and years and years and years and years. And I'm just like, wow, when are we gonna stop this? What's the game changer? Because I always go with the Tony Robbins thing, like moving from a state of desire to must, and people buy into desire. Like everybody buys the book or the fitness program or whatever, or the gym membership because they feel the momentum of wanting to get the thing, and then, you know, either the body or the life or the money or whatever like thing that they're purchasing. But then when it comes time to do it, they never get to the state of must where they like want to completely switch over. And like, that's my goal. Like that's how I really want to contribute to this. So I was just looking at the social media thing and I was like, wow, it's like, this is interesting. I was like, there's so much of this. I was seeing so much self-doubt just based on the content that people were being fed and how many people were following these things and wanting this more in their feed and basically in their life. Because I think the average amount of time people check Instagram is like 62 times a day or something outrageous, you know? So it's creating almost a soundtrack to, even though it's not music, like, but it's creating the theme to somebody's everyday experience.
Getting to the must is so hard because to get someone to the must, you have to tell them some really hard truths about what it actually takes to get what they want. And people don't want to do hard things. They just don't. So for me, what I try to communicate is that it's actually easier when you do the hard things. Like life gets way easier when you're constantly telling the truth. Life gets really easy when you are showing up for yourself in a way that feels good. And you're not having to make excuses for yourself or have regret or guilt or shame or any of those kinds of things. But then at the same time, telling people that they're okay. Like you're okay if you mess up and you're okay if you don't look perfect and you're okay if you like fall off the wagon or whatever. But there is that must still has to be there. So I do have my must. I do. Like, and I work for it every single day. Like my mornings, and I said this in other places before, but there are times when I literally, like, I wake up and I curse God because I ask, why does it have to be so hard to be me? Like, just like, you know, all the things I have to do to get through like depression and anxiety and, you know, all the prayers I have to say, the mantras and the meditations and all that, that I have that must, so I do it anyway. And I'm so happy that I do. It's really, I actually don't know how to motivate people to that place. I do in one-on-one when it's private and I'm coaching a person, and then I can, you know, give them the hard truth and say, this is why you're fucking up. This is why you aren't happy. This is why you don't have what you want. That's easy for me. But on a large scale, like I put that on Instagram, it's like unfollow. Like, you're too mean. And, you know.
You know what I did? We did a nutritional detox workshop here. And I have one tomorrow night. It's been going on for 5 weeks. And the first night I just kind of like disrupted the whole thing. Like we had a whole plan on how it was going to go. And I noticed that everybody walked in and thought they were going to sit there and take notes on nutrition and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, put your pads down. We're doing dyads and we're going to get, and everybody, they hated it. But by the end of the dyads, they loved it. Just for listeners or anybody watching the videos, a dyad is a series of, it's a way of communicating where you sit across from a partner and you give them complete presence and you give an instruction. And we did 2 instructions that night. The first one was very simple. Tell me something about you that you think I should know. And the partners take turns. One person gives undivided attention and complete presence. The other person just shares, as a result of the instruction, anything that comes up as a result of receiving that instruction. And then the other one was, tell me something about you and your relationship to food. And it was just immediately changed everything. It really, people already know what they need. They didn't need me to tell them anything. And we're still doing, like, I'm talking about nutrition stuff tomorrow night. And like, you know, we're not doing dyads or any of that, but like really what everybody needed in their own life, they already knew. And they worked it out in that dyad structure. At first, these are New Yorkers, and I'm like, we're going to make eye contact. And everyone was just like, oh my God, what is this guy making us do? But then it just went over so well.
All right. So you know what though? This is the exact best place to take a break from the conversation and start, for my audience, part 2, because I want to do that with you. We can't look at each other's eyes, but I want to answer those questions in the next video. And for everybody watching, I want you guys to, I said you guys. I was going to stop saying guys because I wanted to be more gender inclusive. I want everyone in the comments to tell me what your relationship is with wellness social media and how you feel when you follow me, when you follow Mike, when you follow other people on social media, who's motivating, what doesn't motivate you. You don't have to name names. And have that conversation in the comments because I want to know. But part 2, let's answer those questions because I would like to know from you, Mike.
Okay. So what you want to do, some dyad communication with me right now?
Yeah. I want you to ask the questions and I want to answer them. And This is carrying over from part 1 when we started talking about dyad. If you want to just tell them once again, what is a dyad meditation?